In today's video, we are going to be talking about belly fat, and more specifically, visceral fat, what it is, and how you can get rid of it. Visceral fat is a type of fat that is stored around our abdomen. Sometimes visceral fat is very obvious, resulting in a protruding belly. If you think of someone who has what is considered to be a beer belly, this is someone who has a lot of visceral fat. This type of fat is hard to the touch. This is in contrast to subcutaneous fat, which is squishy. Subcutaneous fat can be stored anywhere on the body, whereas visceral fat can only be stored around our midsection. And these two types of fat are very different. Subcutaneous fat is normal. We actually need some percentage of it in order to be healthy. For men, between 8 to 20% is considered optimal, and for women, between 21 to 33%. This healthy range increases slightly as we age. But visceral fat, on the other hand, is not essential for our health, and it's actually dangerous. Visceral fat surrounds vital organs, including the liver, stomach, and intestines, and it can damage them. Visceral fat cells also produce inflammatory markers, which lead to chronic inflammation and chronic diseases such as heart disease. Subcutaneous fat gain is caused from overconsumption of energy in general, but visceral fat can actually increase or decrease based on the foods we eat and the exercise and activity we do, with no change in calories whatsoever. Reducing visceral fat significantly reduces your disease risk, improves your health, and in turn improves your quality of life. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving you 10 actionable steps you can take to target and lose visceral fat. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kate. I'm a certified health and nutrition coach. I post videos twice a week here on YouTube talking all things insulin resistance, weight loss, sleep, and more. So if you're ready to take control of your metabolic health, make sure to click that subscribe button. And you can also find me on TikTok and Instagram, where I share new posts every single day. Now, before I get into the steps you can take to reduce visceral fat, I want to get one thing out of the way. Visceral fat loss or gain is not as simple as calories in, calories out. As I said before, you can lose or gain visceral fat based on the foods you're eating and the activity you're doing, with no change in calories or energy expenditure. And there are studies that have shown this. One study had obese children replace fructose, which is a type of sugar, in their diet for starches instead. There was no change to their calorie input. And within just 10 days, their visceral fat had reduced on average by 10%. 10% in 10 days. That's crazy. And like I said, no change to calories. Now, yes, of course, if you just lose weight in general, some of that is going to be visceral fat. But if you want to target visceral fat specifically, if this is an area you struggle with, then follow the tips in this video for fast results. And make sure to stick around until the end, because number 7 might surprise you. Number 1, cut out pop. I figured I'd start with this tip because I just mentioned the study where the children swapped fructose in their diet for starches instead. And one of the top, if not the top source of fructose in our diets is sugar-sweetened beverages. Fructose is a type of simple sugar that makes up 50% of table sugar, is added to a lot of processed food, and is also found naturally in fruit. Fructose has to be processed by the liver in order for our bodies to use it, whereas glucose, which is another type of sugar, doesn't. Excess fructose tends to get stored as visceral fat, where excess glucose tends to get stored as subcutaneous fat. And as I mentioned, the main sources of fructose in our diet are sugar-sweetened beverages and fruit juices. These drinks allow us to consume massive amounts of fructose that we wouldn't be able to consume from eating whole food sources such as fruit. If you cut pop out of your diet, I can almost guarantee you're going to see a reduction in your visceral fat very quickly. Number 2, be smart about carbs. Now, I'm not saying you have to cut carbs out entirely from your diet, and I'm not even saying you have to reduce them dramatically. Yes, reducing carbs in the diet can help to reduce visceral fat, but if you're not ready to take that step, just be smart about them. And here's how this ties in with visceral fat. Carbohydrates are the macronutrient that stimulates the most insulin when we consume them, and insulin is known as the fat storage hormone. When there are huge influxes in insulin in our bodies over a long period of time, this leads to insulin resistance, which is one of the main drivers of visceral fat. So if we can reduce huge spikes in blood sugar and in turn insulin, this will help to reduce visceral fat. And this is where being smart about carbs comes in. One way to be smart about carbs is to not eat them naked. What do I mean by this? When we eat carb-rich foods in isolation without any protein and fat, these cause a big spike in our blood sugar and require a lot of insulin to process. But if we take the same food and we pair it with some protein and fat, the spike is far less significant. And when we avoid these huge spikes, we start to become more insulin sensitive. So basically, anything we can do to improve our insulin sensitivity and reduce our insulin resistance is going to help us lose and prevent visceral fat. Number 3, take apple cider vinegar before meals. This next step is super easy and inexpensive to implement. All you have to do is drink apple cider vinegar diluted in water before you eat. And the reason that this is effective comes back to blood sugar and insulin. When we take apple cider vinegar before we eat, it helps our cells to absorb more glucose. When they absorb glucose quicker, then the spike is less significant in both blood sugar and insulin. And like I said, super easy to implement. All you have to do is add 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar into water before you eat. This can be immediately before, probably up until half an hour before. And no, capsules and gummies are not as effective as liquid. Number 4, prioritize sleep. When we don't get a proper night's sleep, our hormones are thrown out of whack the entire next day. Insulin being one of them. Studies have shown that just 1 night of poor sleep can make us temporarily insulin resistant, which, as we spoke about, contributes to visceral fat. And to make matters worse, ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone, increases up to 15%, and leptin, which is the satiety hormone, decreases up to 15%. So we're more hungry the whole next day, which of course doesn't help when we're trying to reduce visceral fat and body fat in general. Give yourself at least 8 hours of sleep opportunity every night. And if you need more tips on how you can improve your sleep, I'm going to link to another one of my videos up above. Number 5, supplement inositol. Inositol is a naturally occurring substance found in foods such as citrus fruit, but the body can also synthesize it. So since the body can make it internally, it is considered to be a non-essential nutrient. However, a lot of people in modern countries do not synthesize inositol well. A lot of factors in our modern environment actually deplete it, which is why supplementing it can be beneficial. And once again, inositol works by improving insulin sensitivity, which in turn helps to reduce visceral fat. Now, if you're looking for an inositol supplement, I highly recommend 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝙄𝙉𝙀, which is from Sowell Health. I'm gonna put the link in the description box down below, and I also have a promo code for 10% off. Number 6, try intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is another great way to target visceral fat. Intermittent fasting, also known as IF, is when you set a period of time each day when you're going to be fasting and when you're going to be eating. A popular variation is 16-8, where you eat within an 8-hour window and then fast, so have nothing but water and 0-calorie drinks for 16 hours. Again, this helps to reduce visceral fat because it improves insulin sensitivity. Now, if you've never done intermittent fasting before, start slow. Even just 12 hours of fasting a day can be extremely helpful. You don't have to shoot for 16 hours. Longer is not always better. But the point is to have a period during the day where you don't eat anything, because being in this fasted state is where the benefits come from. Number 7, sprint. Okay, this one is really interesting. Doing sprint training has been shown to reduce visceral fat, and not just because of the calories burnt. Sprinting triggers the body to release certain hormones, which drive the release of visceral fat. So you want to be putting in maximal effort for short bursts. And this doesn't have to be running. You can do sprints on a rowing machine, a stationary bike, any form of cardio equipment really. The aim is not duration here. Even a sprint training session less than 10 minutes can help to reduce visceral fat. The goal is to be putting in maximal effort and then resting. So if you do a couple of sprints and then you notice that your performance is starting to slow down, you've already achieved the maximum benefits. So that might only mean 3 or 4 sprints and rest in between, of course. Number 8, reduce alcohol. Even better if you can cut it out entirely. Visceral fat is highly associated with alcohol consumption. Like fructose, alcohol has to be processed by the liver. Excess consumption can lead to more fat being stored in our abdomen. Studies have shown that people who drink more alcohol have a wider waist circumference. And I think that most people subconsciously know that excess alcohol has this effect because we often refer to this type of fat accumulation as a beer belly. Number 9, quit smoking. Smoking has been shown to increase visceral fat, but not subcutaneous. And this is another example of how it's not all about calories. You can have 2 people eating the exact same diet, but if one person smokes and one person doesn't, the person who smokes will have more visceral fat. And finally, number 10, eat stearic acid. So in the same way that swapping fructose for starch in the diet can reduce visceral fat, swapping other types of fat in the diet for stearic acid can help as well. Stearic acid is a type of saturated fat that is well known to be beneficial for weight loss, and not just weight loss, but visceral fat loss specifically. Stearic acid is found in the fat of meat, animal fat used for cooking, such as tallow and butter, and also in some fatty plant foods, such as cacao butter. So swap your cooking oil for one that's high in stearic acid. Tallow and butter are both great options, and this will help to reduce visceral fat. Anyways, guys, that's all I have for you today. I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know in the comment section down below which of these tips you're gonna try first. I love chatting with you guys there and hearing from you, hearing your experiences. Even if you just say hi, that really helps to support my channel. Any comment goes a long way. If you did enjoy this video, you might also enjoy my video on the best foods you can eat for weight loss. You can check it out here. If you want to catch up on my most recent upload, you can find it here. And if you want to check out my coaching programs, including my 7-day insulin resistance masterclass, which can help with reducing visceral fat, you can find those here. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.